All right, everybody. Happy Sunday. My name is Jonathan, and I am the owner at Trendy Trading. We're going to quickly go over our broad market analysis. That's right, that's me. Just in case you didn't realize who I was. And so I got my camera on. Just need to test out a few things for future developments that may be coming to you soon. But let's get started with broad market analysis. This is going to be quick and easy to the point. Today is February the 26th, 2023. Future should be opening up here in about 70 minutes, and we'll be covering the 26th of February to the 3rd of March. Let's go ahead and get started. So here are your earnings for this week. So that's right, it is February, and I was reminded today as I was looking out the window, it's really hot outside. The water's beautiful, the backyard's under construction. And I was reminded that some of our folks are under heavy snowstorms right now, which it just blows me away. But it is a reality check that we are still in February. We're still in the midst of earnings. And so there's a lot on the plate. And therefore, I do expect a little bit of choppiness, but there may be a relief bounce coming to a market near you, and we'll get into that here shortly. Notice here on the screen, I went ahead and circled some of my favorite names, which are going to be, and it's probably due, by the way. It's due for, it's due. It's just due, right? It's due for a earnings trade. So maybe this week we'll get into our earnings trade. We'll see. But Workday, Target, Norwegian, AMC, Marathon, Blink. By the way, Blink, guys, I have some equity in this stock. It's not done a whole lot. It is a small position, and just in case you are interested in Blink, just know that they have earnings, and who knows, with a small name like this, it could go down 50%. So be careful. If you don't want to be in it, don't be in it. Let's move on. Monster, and then the next is going to be Lowe's, Dollar Tree, Okta, Celsius, Plug, Snowflake, Salesforce, Best Buy, Macy's, Kroger. As you can see, Broadcom, Costco, a lot of good names coming up this week. So be ready. We could see a little bit of volatility in the market. Second thing that I'm going to go over is the market watch. So the market watch is basically things in the market that could cause a little bit of volatility in the market, and we just want to be prepared for that. If we take a look at this, again, this is Eastern time. So notice that we have some Fed speakers this week. And so obviously take note of that. Again, Eastern time, and there is some econ data in here as well. And then this is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Same thing, Fed speakers, initial jobless claims, same old, same old. Just some catalysts to move the market a little bit, okay? Next thing we're going to talk about is last week's neutral strategy. So again, looking at this week, and in hindsight, we gave you these levels before they happen. And the process is you go short underneath the red. And you can see here on the SPY, we did hit T1, T2, and T3, and the subdued box down here was demand. We came into that demand. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. So I do expect a little bit of a bounce this week, but again, I'll get to that sentiment towards the end of this broad market analysis. Over here on QQQ, same thing, folks. We broke underneath the red level, which tells you to go short, looking for T1, T2, and T3. Stops would go above the top of the neutral for a swing trade. And then far as like intraday trading, you have to assess what you're comfortable with. But overall, these did work out very nicely to the downside. Okay. Next thing that I'm going to be taking a look at here is, and give me 1 second while I mute this. Let's come over. There we go. And so the next thing that we're going to be looking at is the SPY neutral strategy for this week. And that's right. So these are your new levels. So the highs I'm looking at are 405, the lows 388, the neutrals between 398.62 and 394.77. If we go above the green, look to go long into the levels here, which are 400.41, 402.97, 405.68. To the downside, 393. 391.27, 388.84. Again, lower levels to the downside are support until proven otherwise, and levels to the upside are resistance until proven otherwise. The biggest thing here to note on the 4 hour, at least what I'm showing you, is that we are still underneath the cloud, and that cloud is resistance until proven otherwise. And 1 second, I forgot about this, and I apologize. This is a 1 hour chart on this ES. Okay, that's not going to affect the levels, but I just want to point that out because I just said 4 hour. Okay, so we are underneath the 1 hour cloud, but if we do break above the green, notice we will be above that green level and looking to go long. Now, please, advanced traders, aggressive traders, I should say, Looking to get long down here if we open up around 394.77. And if we go bid above the PMZ, I'll probably be looking for that trade to the upside. Because remember, levels to the downside are support until proven otherwise. Okay. All right. So the next chart that I'll be looking at is going to be the bigger picture of the SPY here, and this is on a quarterly chart, folks. There's not a whole lot to talk about right here. Just a few notes, and that is this is a quarter candle. One big change is the current topping wick. This shows that the bears are in control, and you could see that back here quite some time ago. Okay, and very close to the 38.2, but still holding above. I have set an alert below. So what I mean is here on the SPY, if you look very closely, the 38.2 is right here, which is 390.25, and that might be difficult for you guys to see on your side, but just know that 38.2 is 390.25. So that really is a big line in the sand because that breaks the bull channel from 2020 into 2022. Very, very important. Okay. One too many twos right there. All right. We are in the cloud. So again, chop still in the bull channel, could still see a pop. And we're getting very close to this level. And I would expect that to be support until proven otherwise. Okay. So remember that. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. Next thing we're looking at are the Qs. This is your neutral strategy right now. 294.29 by 289.90. It's a little bit wide. And again, aggressive traders, if you're looking to get long, look for this to be support if we were to gap down into 289.90, if we gap down into 287.35 or gap down into 284. Again, all these would be support until proven otherwise. If we break above the green level here on the 4-hour chart, and this would be the same as the SPY, is you would most likely still be underneath the cloud. So just know, even if we go long above these levels, I don't think it's going to be easy until we at least break above the 4-hour clouds. Okay. That's kind of the hierarchy, if you would, or the start to a good rally would be if we can start to move over the 1-hour clouds, then the 4-hour clouds, and then we'll talk about the dailies if we get there. Okay. To the downside, notice that I created some boxes over here. These are just showing you some inside and up formations. And these levels are pretty confluent with those inside and up formations. And you can see if I come across here, this is the low of that move around 124 or January the 24th. And if for some reason I'm wrong and we break down even lower, we could find bids or support come in right around this area. And I will update you if that is the case. Next chart that I'm going to be looking at is the quarterly for the QQQ. And not much here is changed either. This also has a big topping wick and bears are in control. On a bullish note, I can't help but to see a rounding bottom, and I probably brought this up last week as well. There's a rounding bottom here, and on a bearish note, we are just underneath the 38.2, which is right here, this green level here. And because we're under that, and because we're in the cloud, I expect it to be choppy. Okay. Again, bulls, you need to get back above this cloud. We need to hold above that cloud. And then I think we can make our move up here towards the latter part of the year. And again, that's if this, then that. If price starts to break down below the next EMA, things look worse. And obviously we're pointing towards this green box to the downside. All right. But we will coach this week to week. Next chart here. This is going to be your US dollar. Let's go ahead and zoom in here if we can. Notice we came into the inside and up. We forecasted that from the inside and down. And once again, just to identify that, that's your inside and down. We identified the inside and up months ago. We said price would go there. It went there. When it was going there, the market was pushing up. And now that we are bidding out of that demand zone, the market is moving down. Okay. But note, the 38.2, this is the bear channel of the move down. And that bear channel is around 105.8. That is the key number for this week, going into this week. And remember what I told you, the the SPY is coming into some demand. The dollar is pushing into some resistance. Those two key points, write them down. Next chart I'm going to show you is the TNX, or the Treasury. And once again, we'll zoom in here. This was a resistance level we put here months and months ago. We broke down into the EMA cloud, the trendy EMA cloud. We went bid there. You can see that price then went up from there. The Treasury went up from there. And just like the dollar, it's coming right into resistance. Note number 3, okay? So a lot of things going on here that show us that typically when the market is moving down, the dollar is moving up, the TNX is moving up. But guess what? Those two are coming into resistance, and yet we have the SPY and the Qs coming into some support. The next chart that I want to show you is the skew. This is your hedge funds. We're basically coming into an area where we wanted to be risk off last week. We're pulling back a little bit, which tells me that the market is starting to jump on the put side. And so, therefore, we could see a little bit of a relief bounce coming into this week. Obviously, time is going to be the variable. The fear and greed has dropped about 9 points this week from a 68 to a 59 and pointing more towards the green. That's right. So basically what I'm saying is we were over here, now we're here, and this tells me that we're headed, we could be, sorry, we're headed maybe towards neutral, but it's funny that it still says greed. I don't necessarily see that. The ES has been down, the SPY has been down for 3 weeks. Hard for me to think people are being greedy when the market's been going down for quite some time. Maybe they're being greedy on the put side. I'm not sure. But this is not really confluent with my teachings and what I'm seeing this week. I feel as if looking at everything that things are lining up for a potential bounce here. The question is, how much of a bounce are we going to get, right? That's the question. So let me come over here. I'm going to pull up our ES futures just like this. And you can see that we had double inside and down. And this is on the weekly, okay? And if you didn't know, this is my driver for my portfolio. So if we're coming into a little bit of demand here and the dollar and the TNX are pushing into resistance, as a bull, and by the way, I have to show you guys this. This is kind of funny. So my kids picked this up from Wall Street 2 years ago, and I went there not too long ago. But you can see here the bull. I took him off and I put him down on his side, and I don't know if you guys can see that or not. The bull is pretty much dead right now. All right, and he's still sitting on his side for this week. And he's not going to stand up until things start to look a little bit better. But there is potential that the bull could slightly start to get up on at least two of his legs here around support and or demand. Now notice when I zoom in here, okay, when I zoom in here, we have this inside and out formation. Now technically it's this entire zone. Okay, so price could come down to the bottom of this wick around 3,888. And then we could find buyers at or around that area, okay? So 38888 basically is what that comes down to. Current price closed at 39.74 on Friday. And we had a great close, right? We had a great close into last week with this butterfly. So we made 757%. That was a really nice win considering some of the trades did not work out last week, but that kind of helps, right? ES on the daily. So what I did this week is I went to a 2D, which each candle represents 2 days. Okay, 2 days. I want you to notice that we're coming into a nice inside and up formation. All right. So ES futures, SPY coming into a little bit of support here, and we could see that bounce on Friday. The question is, can it be sustained? Notice here on the 2-day, we're underneath a cloud. That cloud is resistance until proven otherwise, okay? So we're under resistance right now. And that's really important because when I say, hey, the dollar could be pulling back, the TNX could be pulling back, the question is, how much could the market actually bounce? And we're going to need some sort of catalyst in the market, something positive to create what we would consider more than a relief bounce. Notice resistance is really close, folks. So if we get some sort of bid, we're going long, say over the PMZ at night and so forth, just know that 3998 is resistance. And right here, my short trigger is around 4042. But again, that's only if the shorter time frame presents itself. Okay, so once again, that TTM squeeze on a smaller time frame has to line up. What are we looking for if we get up here towards resistance or the short trigger? I want you to quickly come over to a smaller time frame. Okay, and then I want you to be paying attention to the TTM squeeze. Okay, really straightforward. If you don't know that process, please reach out to me. But again, that's what we teach as we get into those levels. Here on the 4H, on the ES, we have some new levels. Notice that I've identified some levels to the downside. And once again, 39.34 around 3,900. We can see that we have this nice explosive candle. There should be a little bit of demand in there. So if we gap down into there, I would expect buyers, unless they're just aiming towards the lower end of my trendy edge, which identifies demand. And you can see that over here. We have some demand, and that level down here is around 38.50. Okay. But we'll talk about that only if this box starts to break, or if it breaks, you heard it here. I'm looking for this move down here. Okay. All right. So the next thing is tonight, right? And we don't typically go over the futures, but I'm making this one really short and sweet. The PMZ. So this is the 1 minute that I'm looking at because I was looking at some stuff that a friend had sent over. But typically, we're going, not typically, all the time, we trade this off a 5 minute. And yeah, so I want to be going long tonight if we break over that, and then looking to trim. I'll probably take these trims, somewhere around here, around 39.80, and then right up here towards the pivot high. All right, and then anything above that, you just come over to the left, look for this selling pressure here. It's around 39.90. To the downside, if we gap down for a short bounce, I'd be looking somewhere around here at 39.68, 39.63. If we open up in the middle, I love that because it gives me an opportunity, right, to just kind of sit here and wait and go, okay, it's breaking down. Let's go ahead and go short, or if it's breaking up, let's go ahead and go long. Okay, that's the intraday. Pretty straight and to the point. That's what I'm looking at. Okay. So that is ES. Now let's go ahead and go over to the NASDAQ. All right. Now, once again, the ES was coming into some demand or support. And over here on the NASDAQ, you pretty much have the same thing. But we are coming out of double inside and down. And as far as the rally is concerned from January the 9th, we're getting very close to the 618. You could see 11,808. At some point this week, but if we reclaim 2027, things look better. But I wouldn't expect us to get over 12,241. And if we do, then cool. Then we'll do something about it. But for right now, they are creating a lot of pressure, selling pressure in this area. So again, it just really leans toward that we could get that relief bounce. But the question is, the relief, it really sounds like just a relief. Relief means just not your average move to the upside or downside. Okay. All right. So that is the weekly. Coming over here, let's get into, once again, the 2D is setting up nicely. This is an inside and out formation. This is a strong one. The formation could look like something like that. You can see we already came into it at the trigger long, 11,980. Again, only a small time frame triggers. I'm going to go over this just one more time before we close out this video so you understand what that process is when price gets there. I'm going to go in detail, so don't go anywhere, okay? So stay right here, please. But the point is, we're coming into a demand zone, all right? But again, we're creating supply right above, all right? So it feels really choppy. Let's move on. This is your 4 hour. We got some resistance above. We got a little bit of support in here. That could be 11,909, 11,785. And if we break above resistance, perhaps we could see, towards 12,500 and even 12,700, but I doubt it. We'll take it day by day. Okay. Overall sentiment, the most noticeable change for me is the fact that the DXY and TNX are both at an inflection point. I just went over that, which is resistance. The ES 2-day is at demand or near support. The YM is at the YE mid. Let's go over here. This is the Dow Jones, folks. We don't talk about the YM much, but you could trade it the same way out of the PMZ and so forth. If we come over here to the higher time frames, let's take this off. And by the way, we did this neutral strategy, I think, during a webinar a couple weeks ago. Look how well it worked out. So anyways, if you took it below the neutral, it paid out big. It never went above there. Let's go ahead and take this off. And you can see we're at the YE mid. And another thing that should stand out to you is there's an inside and up formation there. It has been tested already, so there is a possibility it could break. But this is the third thing that I'm showing you where we're at a support level. Okay. Then coming over here, RTY, or the IWM, you could say, the E-mini Russell 2000. Same thing, folks, on the weekly. If I were to zoom in for you, you can see here, we have that inside and up formation. We are at that inside and up formation. We could get a relief bounce. It is still holding the cloud. Looks a little bit different than the rest. So please understand that. Basically, what I'm saying is we should see a make or break kind of week, if you ask me. I do expect it to be choppy, and it's hard for me to say whether or not it's going to be choppy to up or choppy to down. Usually, I'm right on point with that, but this week I'm really torn. I do believe we get a relief bounce. We'll see if we get some sort of bounce tonight. But if we open up towards resistance, bulls take caution. We'll have the PMZ. I'll be able to coach and yeah, and we'll go from there, okay? Now, the overall sentiment seems to be down. And if I were in charge, though, I'd pop the market up to offset anybody that was buying puts at the end of Friday, okay? This is if I were in charge. And a lot of times, if I put myself in those shoes and I were to say something like, if I were in charge, typically I'm right because the idea is I want to be taking your money. And how would I do that? I look at all these different indicators and I put together that thesis. Now, the market has been going down, at least on the ES side, for 3 weeks in a row. The RTY only one, and then up, and then down. And then let's look over here at the Dow just really quick. And by the way, folks, this is kind of funny. I'm wearing the Dow 30,000 hat. One of our members sent that to me probably 2 years ago when things were amazing. And I find it kind of ironic that we're almost back over here at 30,000. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, so just a memory that I had right right now. Yeah, so this is just a sideways. It looks like 2 weeks down in a row. And then you saw the ES that was pretty ugly. I think the ES is kind of leading the pack, 3 weeks down. It doesn't look great, but again, going back to pattern recognition, typically 3 weeks is a good time for us to flush people out and then start to move up towards the middle of the week. So going back to my sentiment, I want to see an up week because I feel like it would trap people. Um, and tomorrow would be a great day or even Tuesday to flush and make you feel like the market's going to continue down and then turn it into a really big bear trap. But again, that's just a thesis. And what I really want to concentrate on this week is regardless of my sentiment, I'm trying to primarily focus on day trading specifically this week. So swings can be difficult. We all know that. But as long as you have a plan and a process and you're sticking to your allocation rules, it makes it that much easier. But what I am finding out is we do really well just trading the PMZ, intraday trading. And so that's where my focus wants to be. So let's get into it just really fast about the process of when these things come into levels, okay? Something I really want you to pay attention to is if we get to a level, I don't care if it's a level on a weekly, a daily, a 4 hour, a 1 hour, a 30 minute, if it's something that I shared with you and we're getting there, I want you to pay attention to the TTM Pro, okay? Or even just the TTM Squeeze. What I'm looking for, okay, is that levels to the downside, which you're going to see here, is that most of the time you're going to get the red bars, like over here, okay? What I'm looking for is for that first yellow bar to kind of trigger. Let's say that we have a level right there. It comes in, sure, 6, 8, maybe 10 bars of red, somewhere in between there, 6 to 10 or so. And then I start to see the first yellow. I know that I'm at a level, boom, I take the trade. Sometimes I wait for two. If I want to be aggressive, just take it at my level as long as I'm okay with the stop. Okay. Then as we start to approach levels to the upside, what I want you to do is pay attention to these. As we're moving up, I call this trendy blue. As we're moving up, you're going to see that buying pressure. But as we get to a level, look for the dark blue. If it's not dark blue, I try to stay in the trade up and over that level. Okay. If it starts to go dark blue, especially by 2 bars or so, or even one, it's a warning sign to be careful. Okay. Just be careful in that area. All right. Again, guys, we're trading pretty primarily intraday off of the PMZ. Last week, I got the question. We'll end it here. I got the question, hey, John, how did you use that butterfly? It was pretty simple, guys. Price pulled back into a level. I looked up into the top. I noticed that the PMZ on the ES futures was a target. And then I looked at the edge and I said, well, okay, if price were to move up from here and hit this, it will pull back and then settle around 38.2 or right at the PMZ. So I picked the numbers right? You could see the results again, 757% on that trade itself. We bought it at like, I don't know, 35 cents and sold them for $3. It's pretty awesome. It worked out really great. We'll be doing more of that. Sometimes it's really interesting when I'm up here doing my thing and I'm teaching all kinds of different stuff. I think to myself, like, wow, sometimes you forget, like, I shouldn't say the easy stuff, but like the really easy process of the PMZ butterflies and just not putting on a whole lot of risk and getting a really nice return. I really want to focus on that type of stuff. I want to continue managing swings and I just want to keep doing better. All right. And if you guys have any feedback or any questions for me, please let me know. We're going to have a wonderful week. Stay positive. Law of attraction. If you've had a hard time or you're getting down on yourself, you're not alone. Everybody's had a hard time, mostly everybody. I would say the majority of traders are having a hard time trading in February. It's not been easy. And for those that have had an easy February, hats off to you. Amazing. Let's keep it going and let's look forward to tonight. I can't wait to trade some futures and then tomorrow with you guys.